Hey guys, welcome back to my channel. It's your favorite sis here. Hey. I've been sitting and thinking, and it's a matter of urgency that I record this video. I want to something discuss. I want to discuss something in it's quite sensitive and personal, and a lot of you can relate to. I want to discuss finances, guys, our relationship with money. Wow, like, I just want to discuss that. And I'm just speaking as a regular person who is going through the most with their finances and just needs to rein it in and start practicing um, good financial habits. And I was thinking, I'm like, maybe I should invite somebody that knows these things to come give tips and whatever. But before we get to a situation like that, we first need to identify the problem so that when we seek help, we know what we are seeking help for. And one thing we need to be honest about or cognizant of is that as black people, we have a very um, strenuous relationship with money because for many obvious reasons, being the history, especially in this country that we come from, that black people were not rich and they grew up poor due to apartheid. And we said thanks to apartheid, but yeah, you know what I'm saying. We were economically deprived as a people, and therefore we weren't allowed access to money, and therefore we don't have a collectively, we do not have a good relationship with money. Hence the many debates of, hey, people, black people, but like dikoloto, they'll buy expensive cars and whatever to show off and all of those things, because now we're coming into money, but we don't have examples of what looking after money in the community looks like. We're only establishing that now. And, a lot of people, when they grow up, like for instance, when our parents' generations, when they grew up, it was a hand to mouth type of situation where their parents were hustling and not even hustling, working and getting menial pay, meager payment, as domestic workers, as garden boys, as whatever form of employment they had, but whatever money they were receiving was not enough for them to live even comfortably, if such a thing could even be said about what happened in the past. They couldn't even live comfortably, so our parents grew up around an environment where money was sparse and scarce and was used sparingly, or was used sparingly, and they never really saw Uguti. Okay, if you have enough money, you must invest, you must do this. When you get money, you must do this. It was a emergency situation which, by the time the parents had money, it had to pay for things, it had to buy things, it had to come in and out of the house like a thief, at night. Good analogy, babes. So I'm sitting here and I'm like, nobody really speaks about financial health. That's what I was thinking about and wanted to term it financial health. To say that, we speak about physical, mental health, and all of those things, but nobody really calls having a good relationship with money financial health. How is your financial health doing? Because one thing I can tell you is that when you don't have money, you're stressed. When you have money issues, you're stressed, and that stress causes ailments in your body and aches and headaches and and just nje yo kurubanari, you just don't want to do anything, you don't want to go anywhere, and you're depressed and you feel like your life is coming to an end because you don't have money. But I was having a conversation with my sister. I called her and I'm like, oh, I'm being stressed out with my financial situation and whatever, and we're having this back and forth about money. And she's like, oh, I'm even thinking looking for another job. And I'm like, but actually, it's not that, even if you find another job and you get more money and then uchief demo ulingi and go to another company, if you still have a bad relationship with money, it's gonna follow you there. For the first 2 months, you're gonna feel, oh, I'm getting more money, and then after that, what happens? Look at you now, where you are. You're getting more money than you were at your previous place of employment. So what's happening there? What's going wrong or what's going right there? So actually, the problem is you. You need to fix you and your relationship with money. If you are in debt, you need to start slowly in terms of paying it back, in terms of, fixing your relationship with money. What are you, when you do have money, what do you do? Do you just go out and spend? Do you sit down and plan? What do you do? What is your relationship with money? When money comes in, does it over excite you that ole balele o nagana straight ke yole we lo reka eng, what is it? And I remember having a conversation with a friend of mine who said when she gets money, she wants to go and buy new things for herself, and it's mostly shoes and clothes because she didn't grow up with her mother for a long time, and that is how her mother showed her love, by buying her things. When she came to visit her with her grandmother, she would buy her shoes and clothes, and very nice, expensive shoes and clothes to make up for not being there as a parent. And she associated that, getting new expensive shoes, with loving yourself, and she has carried that into her adulthood, where when she's got money or she's feeling down or she's feeling like she doesn't love herself, she's gonna run into a shop and buy an expensive pair of shoes and feel good. And she's like, I can trace that back to that type of thing, and a lot of our behaviors can be traced back to a lot of things. What is it in you that is making you behave like that? What triggered it? If you were to go back in your childhood or whatever, what would have triggered that type of behavior? And we never really have these type of conversations. We disregard things that happen in childhood so much, because as black people and black families, children are not to be heard, but seen. Yes, children are just to be seen but not heard, and we forget that children grow into adults, and you can trace a thing that happened in your childhood that is making you behave how you're behaving now, and that is valid. And we try so hard as the black community to say, no, you can't have carried that from your childhood. What do you even remember? I mean, hello babes, I remember going to crash. I remember going to crash, and a lot of people have a lot of childhood memories. And even if it's not a memory, you remember feeling something. You remember when you talk about your grandmother who is alive or departed, you remember feeling loved. You can say, people always say, when I think about my grandmother as a child, she passed away maybe when I was a child. I remember feeling warmth and loved at her house. Or my grandmother was a mean person. She didn't like kids. You remember those things. You like, I don't have a memory, but I remember it. That she was this kind of a person. So even with our relationship with money and many other things, we can trace it right back to our childhood, to that type of relationships with money. I, for one, I don't know what went wrong. I don't know what happened with me. My mother is a very responsible person when it comes to money. You know what it is, I think, for me. Ne? I know now what I sort of have an idea of what the problem is. The problem with me is that when I was growing up, my mother took care of everything, right? She took care of, I'm having a light bulb moment. She took care of what she needed to take care of as a mother, where we had food, we had electricity, we had basic clothing, and I'll come back to the why I'm saying basic clothing. Basic clothing, my school fees was paid, I had uniform, I had stationery, you know, I was sorted on that end, on the school end. Yeah, at home we had food and whatever, we never went to bed hungry or anything like that. My issue was that even as a child, I did not understand why I couldn't get a pair of Levi's jeans, for instance, that I liked, or a pair of sneakers that I never ever, my mother never ever bought me any expensive clothing because it was a waste of money. She could pay my school fees with that money. I sort of tried to understand as a child, but I really didn't, because I'm like, but I also want to be like the other kids and trendy and fit in. But now when I look back, I'm not even angry at that, you know? But it is a thing that I carry that now angeke babes, I mina ngiyozithengela into engiyifunayo, and I'm not even going to limit myself regardless of how I'm actually standing financially. I will run into that shop and go buy whatever that I want to satisfy myself with, and I ke control ka gore ke a bereka, ke a sebetsa very tshwanetse ke iketsetse. Whereas we're like, babe, you know, you could have paid that, you could have paid your debt, you could have saved it, you could have whatever, and it's those little things that spiral into a big thing, into, you know, this massive thing, and you find yourself sitting in debt, you find yourself sitting in an unhealthy situation with money. And with me saying that now, to say, but my mother was a fairly, not even fairly, she was a really good person when it came to managing her money. She did do all the things she needed to do. She saved a lot. She paid for the things she needed to pay for. So how come my relationship with money is not a reflection of what I grew up with? And I'm like, actually, a lot of the time when I started having my own money was compensating for what I did not have in childhood. Anybody, if you know me, you know I have 1,000 pairs of All Stars, and all I am going to tell you is that I need them. I need them to go to work. I need them. I need them. I just need them. They are my shoes. I'm gonna wear them. I wear them then. You know, I will walk into a shop and get ready, take it a sailing. I'll buy 5 pairs of different tackies of the same brand, and I'll be known as that one that weighs I'm an all-star. And I'm like, but why? And then I'm like, I so on my personal part, now that I'm speaking to you guys and I'm saying this, I can see my relationship with money is, whenever I have it, I'm compensating, and I'm making me happy because I couldn't get the things that I wanted to get as a child. Like, and look, I don't know. If you're a parent and you're sitting there and you're like, how do I balance? I do not know. I do not know how you are going to work around it, how, you know, we're going to have a healthy, really, you're going to teach your children a healthy relationship with money, because you are saving. They're seeing you pay for things. They're seeing you, you know, do all the right things. But I don't know. I don't know how you're depriving them of the things they might want in that moment. Because as much as you're like, okay, I'm going to be grateful, but those things stay with you and they manifest in other ways. So really, this is just a conversation really on what is our relationship with money, and our relationship with money is tied to so many other things. It's tied to our emotional health, our physical health, our mental health, and we never really speak about it from like that, to say what is our relationship with money, what are our triggers that may have been triggered long time ago with that, and we need to find that out and start working on that. And if you're someone who has a healthy relationship with money, please teach us and say, how do you do how do you do it, honey? We need to learn. But I will tell you one thing, a lot of people are having a struggle with finances. They really are. We really are having a struggle. And I'm at the beginning right now of this journey of me trying to fix my finances and really get into a healthy habits and a healthy cycle, a healthy relation with money. And maybe I'll come back, not that maybe, I will come back one day and say, okay, you know what? I did this and that in my space, for myself, and this is how I, I, I sorted that situation out. And more, I feel like all of these things are tied, hey, for me. All of them are tied, and you must achieve some sort of, or have some semblance of health in all of these, be it mental health, financial, physical. When you do not even get me started on the health, né? And having a relationship with food and that is another topic on its own that will be addressed on another day. But I just wanted to talk about money and say, what is our relationship with money? Basically, yeah. How are we going to get to a healthy point? What do we start doing? We start addressing our issues with money. That's what I think we need to do. We need to start addressing and being honest and open with ourselves and start working one step at a time at fixing the issue, just like with anything else really in life. But yeah, I just wanted to talk about money and be on some mara entle ke re phela yang le tšhelete, re phela yang le yona, ene go be monate, go be healthy relationship ka mo ntlong between wena le tšhelete ya gago. Anyway, like, comment, and subscribe. This is your Fave Fat Sis. Follow on the gram. Follow your Fave Fat Sis on the gram, honey. And see you at the next video.